Khalistani campaign that has been going on, this pro-Khalistani elements, they are just not a threat to India, but a threat, it's a global threat. We are forgetting that they have done a lot of air bombings in the past as well. And this kind of activity being shamelessly given a platform in Canada is something very concerning. I mean, Justin Trudeau is right now not understanding what is happening right there, because just to gain your own electoral gains, you are actually trying to destroy very important bilateral relation and diplomatic relation that you could have had with our country, you could have had with India.
And apart about the Nijjar killing, India designated him a terrorist in the year 2020, and cut to 2023. Now Justin Trudeau coming and saying that we have people protesting. I mean, it's people protesting, and then Justin Trudeau coming and saying that these people, a Canadian citizen was killed in the. Look at the audacity.
I was just reading about it.
There's a person who has been advocating for a separate homeland, separate Khalistan, has been out there quite vocal about his demands, and he has been designated a terrorist. And here we have Justin Trudeau coming out in the open and saying India should just support the investigation. India should kind of help Canada to figure out that what exactly is going on when it comes to these killings, or this particular killing on a Canadian soil. What kind of support is he really expecting is the big question.
Definitely. I mean, I was reading about it, and the first headline that I see about the India-Canada row is that Canada updates its India travel advice, and it says that be vigilant. I was just reading about it, and it's saying that Canada has updated its travel advisory for citizens going to India, asking them to stay vigilant and exercise caution in the context of recent developments, as there are calls for protest and some negative sentiments toward Canada on social media. So this comes after New Delhi issued a similar advisory for Indian nationals. So they have hit back, and now they are blaming the Indian, social media, that India is trying to portray Canada as the villain in this global sphere. They are trying to paint a picture for Canada. They are trying to paint a picture that Canada is a villain in this whole story, which is not true. You can see that this comes tensions flared up in India and Canada following the PM just was allegation, and then potential links, that credible allegations. The facts are still not clear. Mr. Trudeau came one day and he announced in the House of Commons that we have, credible allegations of involvement of India linking to the death of, Hardeep Singh Nijjar. But he has still not come out. He's still not given any kind of facts. He's just been going out and saying that we are investigating it. We are asking India to cooperate with us. I mean, what kind of cooperation do you need? What kind of support are you asking from us? And you said, first you go out and first you say, India media is trying to paint a picture to us. India is allegedly linked in the killing of Nijjar Singh, and we are just trying to protect a Canadian citizen. We are just trying to protect freedom of speech of these protesters.
Well, it's funny that Trudeau is speaking about freedom of speech, isn't it?
Definitely. And then you go ahead and you say that, we don't want to provoke anything. We want to work with India to get to the crux of the matter. I mean, you cannot work with India if you cannot understand what we are saying, what we are trying to do. So that is something that I think, Canada really needs to understand. And that, Trudeau has been facing heat for his comments. Now everybody, not just India, Sri Lankan, Foreign Minister, he has come out and he has said that he has backed India.
He in fact, there's a very interesting statement that he's made. He said that, terrorists have found safe haven in Canada. That's something that, that's a very powerful statement out there. In fact, let's quickly listen in to what the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister had to say about the ongoing developments vis-a-vis the India-Canada row.
Yeah, we have always suffered, and some of the terrorists have found safe haven in Canada. Canadian Prime Minister has this way of just coming out with some outrageous allegations without any supporting proof. The same thing they did for Sri Lanka, a terrible, total lie about saying that Sri Lanka had a genocide. Everybody knows there was no genocide in our country. And I saw yesterday he had gone and given a rousing welcome to somebody who have associated with the Nazis in the past on the Second World War. So this is questionable, and we have dealt it in the past. We have categorically rejected those outrageous allegations. So I'm not surprised that sometime Prime Minister Trudeau comes out with outrageous, unsubstantiated allegations.
We also have, in fact, the United States now reiterating that it is deeply concerned, I'd like to put in quotes, by the allegations made by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau regarding India's involvement in the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, and called for continued probe into the matter. Do remember that it was an NYT report, the New York Times report, the US-based New York Times report, which suggested that it was nobody else but the United States that gave the so-called intel to Canada regarding the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Here now, while addressing a press briefing, the Department of State spokesperson Matthew Miller said that we believe it's critical that Canada's investigation proceed and that the perpetrators be brought to justice. And we have publicly and privately urged the Indian government to cooperate in the Canadian investigation. Asked about the India-Canada row, Miller said, "We're deeply concerned by the allegations referred by Prime Minister Trudeau. We remain in close contact with our Canadian partners," as the Secretary said on Friday. Now that's in fact the statement that Matthew Miller has made. Let's quickly listen into what he had to say before Nancy and I get on to discuss this.
What I will say is we are deeply concerned by the allegations referenced by Prime Minister Trudeau. We remain in close contact with our Canadian partners, as the Secretary said on Friday. We believe it's critical that Canada's investigation proceed and that the perpetrators be brought to justice. And we have publicly and privately urged the Indian government to cooperate in the Canadian investigation.
There you have it. The US police, the global police, which nobody ever asked for, now coming like a school teacher and telling everybody, please sit down. Even, you know, for a second, somebody might really be interested in what the school teacher has to say. At least the children are for sure. But I don't know. I mean, what makes the United States think that it has the authority to school India, or, you know, tell somebody else, or, you know, tell India particularly. I won't talk about any other nation, but tell India, you know, we're deeply concerned. This is what you should be doing. This is the right approach. Please cooperate. I mean, come on. Who are you?
I mean, you know, this deeply concerned, they are very deeply, Trudeau is a friend, India is a friend, we really want them to work this out. I mean, nobody is trying to understand. I think it's high time now that everybody came together and said to, you know, Trudeau that this is not something that is acceptable. You know, when the West comes out and when the
West cannot do that, given the NYT report, given it was apparently the United States itself which gave the information, which gave the so-called intelligence to Canada, while pretending to be India's friend. I mean, there's a lot of lessons for India to be learned here as well, truth be told.
Yeah, and you know, you were talking about the NYT report. Here I have seen, you know, the first headline, it says that at G20 meet, Biden raised Nijjar's killing with PM, says a financial report. It says that US President Joe Biden and other Western leaders had expressed concern to Prime Minister Narendra Modi about Canadian claims that agents linked to New Delhi were involved in the murder of a Sikh separatist, obviously Financial Times. According to the FTI, several members of the Five Eyes, an intelligence sharing network that includes the US, UK, Canada, Australia and the New Zealand, raised the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar with Modi. One said Biden felt it was important to address the issue directly with its India counterpart. The White House declined to comment on whether Biden had discussed the issue with Modi at the G20. The leaders intervened at the G20 summit. Canada urged its allies to raise the case directly with Modi. So the Five Eyes we were talking about, you know, the dominant Five Eyes.
The US, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and you have Canada. Now these Five
Eyes, they have, you know, they have asked US that, you know, please you go and talk to them directly. And in fact at G20,
as I said, like a schoolmaster.
As a schoolmaster.
I mean, nobody really wants, I don't know what makes it.
You know, at G20, Biden raised the issue of Nijjar's killing. I mean, first we have the New York Times report. They said that the US was, you know, helping, the US intel helped.
It's quite a big report out there, you know, I mean, it was obviously, it was quite obvious to some people, to I think almost everybody, that, you know, where has this so-called intel come from?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's the US-based NYT which has just put it out
and there. Now it's the Financial Times who has come out and is saying that, you know, Biden was, you know, somebody who raised the issue with Modi, and they are asking India to cooperate with Trudeau. They are asking India to cooperate with the Canada prom, and I think India is, you know, 100% correct. They are saying what is there to coordinate with? What is there to cooperate with? We don't want to cooperate with anything because you are harboring terrorists.
So Canada, I think, wouldn't be wrong to say that is becoming like Pakistan. I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is what we have been dealing with Pakistan for the longest of time, that stop harboring terrorists, stop funding them, stop giving them shelter. And now Canada is doing the same thing. So I think that is something that we really need to have to, step back. India need to reassess their ties with US, their Canada and other Western nations who are deeply concerned.
With Canada, of course, the ties at this moment are not kind of, there are many developments that have taken place, and India is also taking, kind of taking a look at what exactly has been going on. Meanwhile, there is another development in regards with this case where a red corner notice has been issued. The Interpol, in fact, has issued a red corner notice to Khalistani terrorist Karanveer Singh. Now, here I'm just going to read a bit about what how NDTV has covered it on its website. It says that the International Criminal Police Organization, commonly known as Interpol, on Monday issued a red corner notice against Karanveer Singh, a member of the banned terrorist group Babbar Khalsa International. The Interpol updated its website by putting out a red corner notice for the Khalistani terrorists. Singh is terrorist. Of course, Singh is believed to be hiding in Pakistan and was a member of the pro-Khalistan terrorist group Babbar Khalsa International, intelligence sources told news agency. Now, as per the Interpol portal, the 38-year-old has roots in Punjab's Kapurthala district. There we have it. Now, I'm sure, Justin Trudeau would come forth and just say that he's not a terrorist. He's a, even though he's been taking a shelter in Pakistan, but the likes of Trudeau, Mr. Trudeau and some other people who tend to support, so-called, give support to whatever his wild acquisitions, will come forth and say, this is not fair. Why has a red corner notice been issued against Karanveer and whatnot? I mean, the hypocrisy that these countries, particularly the West, has shown. I'm not even going into how Canada has been, particularly the United States has shown. I mean, it's surprising.
Definitely.
It's not per se surprising. It's not, if you look at it, it's not even surprising.
I mean,
also,
it was surprising because the G20 summit just happened.
It's like, I was just coming to that. It's like they were waiting for the G20 summit to get over, and they were like, it's like it's as soon as it's over, now that it's all great, everything went well, how do we put India down? So let's just do this. Let's give the so-called intel, even though it might be completely baseless, but who cares?
Who cares?
So
definitely.
let's give the intel to Canada. Let's push it. Whatever our agenda is, let's push it through a weaker element. Now, what's the weaker element here? The weaker element is Canada. Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the the diplomatic ties are already ruined. It's the crack is widening. And I was just reading about it. The Interpol notice that we were talking about. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has asked Ottawa government to include India in public inquiry against foreign interference in polls, accusing India of using media to provoke Sikhs. He cautions against taking baits. So now they have come up with this new angle and allegation. They are saying that, in the Indian media is trying to create a kind of community hatred against the Sikhs, and be aware, don't get wooed by Indian media. They are just trying to paint a picture for Canada that Canada is the villain here.
There, in fact, right on your screens is the 36-year-old terrorist Karanveer, who is a part of Babbar Khalsa International, is a terrorist and is reportedly taking shelter in Pakistan. Right on your screens, a red corner notice has been issued against him.